Welcome back, citizens. This is day 6 of 8, where I'm going through the top 8 ships that were in the ship showdown leading up to deciding best in show for the upcoming Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is happening in a few days. So we are on to the 600i, and this is going to be a different video than anything else that you've seen before, leading into the final two, the final contenders for the #1 position, the Mercury Star Runner and the Carrack. And the 600i was a bit of an issue because after recording all this video, after it was available to take out and use, there's been a new video on Star Citizen Live called Taking Flight. And in there they talked about the rework of the 600i, which we do know is eventually coming, but they are not currently actually working on it besides doing some concept. And they're going to talk more about it during the expo. So anything that I show here isn't really going to be relevant to the future of this ship. So it is kind of a different thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of showing some stuff in the background from the footage that I recorded while I talk a bit about what I like about this ship and why I think this is a pretty awesome ship, and very easily would have put this in the top 3 to make it through because it's such an awesome ship in my opinion. But then I'm going to go into taking a look at the concept artwork that was inside that video and just talk about that and talk about how things are going to change with the ship. Now the 600i comes in 2 variants. The 2 variants are the Touring Edition and the Exploration Edition. Now the difference between the two really comes down to currently the middle of the ship. One is for more VIP tours and just luxury, and one is more utilitarian, but from the outside they look the same. And this is one of the ships that Star Citizen has that is eventually going to be modular, meaning that if you owned a 600i Touring or 600i Explorer before the end of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, you will get the best in show paints for these ships, because these 2 ships are actually one ship. They are modular, unlike some of the other ships in the verse that are not modular. Even though they might be some of the same designs, they are not considered to be the same ship. So looking at this one, this is an Origin ship, and Origin ships are beautiful. I love the look of the Origin ships as far as just their design. They definitely have a cohesive design that if you see any ship, you know this is an Origin ship. Usually a sleek exterior look, usually white, although you could have different colors depending on the paint. Lots of wood interiors, gold trim, brass, lots of beautiful open areas in the ship. Even small ships like the 100i has a very nice, very well appointed interior. You're getting up something like the 300i. It actually has quite a spacious interior that you could have even things like a little coffee maker and a bed in there. Pretty nice ships as well. This ship, the 600i, also known for having extremely good shielding. If you want to take a ship into a battle that is going to be able to soak up a lot of damage, surprisingly, this is one of the best ones you can get. It's really amazing how much this ship can take before it starts taking damage. The landing gear on the ship is interesting. It comes out of the hull, and the hull itself becomes the foot of the landing gear. And for me, this is one design feature that has always kind of bothered me, because in my mind, wouldn't this just get all scraped and scuffed up, rubbing these beautiful hull pieces on the ground? But it is kind of something interesting. But I do like the attention to detail in this ship. Even things like this landing gear. If you look up at the tubes and wires that are coming out of the landing gear to run the hydraulics, it's just how the design is really cool, really neat. Also, this ship has one of the best views for the bedroom that I've ever seen. If you go to the captain's quarters, which is below the bridge, it is just this expansive window. If I had to choose a ship to wake up in the morning and just kind of look out where I've landed, if I'm beside a lake or in a forest or on a cliff or even out in space looking through the stars, what an amazing view. I would like the option to maybe black out the windows and then open them up again, something that would make them opaque. That would be kind of a cool feature, but currently it's just this beautiful view looking out the windows by the bed. I like the little details that are in here, things like the towel on the rack, the cool controls for hot water, cold water temperature beside the toothbrush in the bathroom. I would hope that eventually little things like this though aren't going to be included in the ship as they are, or at least that they could be moved around and replaced so that you could decide where you want things on your ship. If you want bottles, if you want like little things on your tables, that you could put them there. But I'm going to get into that a bit when I look at some of the pictures, because I'm going to talk about one thing specifically about that. Also, if you look on like the bookshelf here, there's a couple bottles of different whiskeys as bookends. I hope they come up with some more books as well. All the books seem to be the same ones repeating all through the verse. You're noticing these exact books might be on a desk by the service counter in Port Olisar, or in a hab somewhere else beside a bed. You'd think there'd be more books around, but maybe people don't use their books as much. Maybe, the Moby Glasses, the new Kindle. So this version that I'm in right now is the Explorer version. Has 40 SU of cargo. So I did try doing a little bit of trading. Again, going to get the aluminum. 40 SU of cargo was 4,401 UEC. Later at Central Business District, I was able to sell all 40 SEU for 5,199 UEC. So not a bad little amount for trading, especially for something as cheap as aluminum. So you could make a profit doing some trading with this ship. One thing I did like too is when I bought the cargo, I wasn't sure where the cargo would go, if it would stay on the ramp, but I'm glad to see that when you get the cargo, it's actually stored in all these little cargo spaces around the edge, leaving well, not the ramp, the elevator, the vehicle lift, with enough room to bring vehicles up and down. So you could use this holding something small. I did try to put a Dragonfly on the elevator and had a lot of issue, but that would be an issue more with how hover vehicles work with elevators than the vehicle itself. I will say there were some problems with this ship that I had. The big problem right away was that there's this holographic globe that's in, I think it's like a scanning room in the ship, and that was visible from outside the ship, through the walls, through the exterior of the ship, as well as through some walls in the interior of the ship. That was kind of an issue. I wasn't really happy with that. Also, there was one time the elevators themselves worked perfectly, unlike the Argo raft, but the elevator at one point, when I went and backed into the wall, merged me into the interior of the wall of the ship, and I was stuck. Luckily, I'm sitting in a hangar, so I was able to remove my gear, backspace, and wake up in the clinic there, and everything was fine. But it is an issue. The only other way I'd think to fix this, if you had nothing in the ship that you were worried about losing, just log off and log back in, and you would be fine if you were in space. But that's really it for issues. I didn't have any other major issues with this ship. But we're going to now look at some of the information from the new video that came out, the Star Citizen live video taking flight. If you want to see that, you can find it on the RSI website as well as Star Citizen's YouTube channel. But I do have the images here that they're showing, and we can kind of take a look at those images. So one of the first images they showed was this kind of central area here that has a table below, a couple seating areas up top, lots of plants, and it looks like potentially a window straight up over your head, more seating closer, so maybe it's like a mirror image of both sides. And this is actually a two-tiered crew area. So that's one of the things that's changed in the concept when they're reworking the ship, is they're actually utilizing the interior space more. So they're not expecting any major changes to the exterior of the ship. There might be some with the ramp, how it looks, and I'll get into that in a bit, as well as some windows, but overall the ship should stay the same shape and size and look pretty much like how you remember it. But this here, they're taking 2 floors and making 3 floors now. Much better utilization of spaces. So this crew quarters here, you can see, I don't know really what the use is of those 4 chairs up top, except for maybe looking out the windows above or sitting down to talk, but I kind of like the table in the bottom. That's kind of a cool table. I do like that. And these doors, I'm guessing, are going to the different crew quarters, and the one up top, the kind of hexagon shaped one, is probably an exit out of the crew quarters. So that's kind of what this this picture is showing. The captain's quarters themselves haven't changed. So apparently the captain's quarters and the bridge are basically the same, or at least going to be remaining where they are. Originally, how the 600i works is that the center module could be removed and changed out to make the touring into the Explorer, or vice versa, switching it back and forth. They've now turned it so that the rear of the ship is what's being removed and replaced. So the central area is now becoming this crew quarter, and they're going to be changing the back of the ship. You can see here, same area but from a different location. So these upper areas actually do have a table that I couldn't see from below. So these are better. I thought they were just some chairs. I didn't really think it made a lot of sense how they're set up. But with a table and two chairs, especially if you're able to actually put things down on them and sit there with other players and talk to other players, this would be a great reason to get face and voice over internet working, to be able to sit in a chair and talk to someone. It would be really immersive. I'm really excited, looking forward to something like that. Now, the other huge change was the elevator lift, the cargo lift, and so there is a couple images I'm going to show you with that. The first one here, you can compare this to what you saw from when I was showing you the actual footage of me buying some cargo and using the cargo elevator. This here, although this is just concepts, so the textures and colors are not what they're designing, but I do like the much bigger area. And there was mentioned that this now will hold something like the size of a Nova tank, and that is massive. The fact that that could fit in here just tells you that this is a huge lift that can put a lot of things in there. So once it's up here, you can see the outside area around there is no longer flat. It has these little ramps to get up to a slight raised area, maybe about, looks like about maybe 2 or 3 feet taller or higher than the cargo lift area itself. This lift only goes from the ground up. Other lifts you need to go even higher. So you can see on the left side there's a little rectangular lift there that would bring things up even higher. So you can take these boxes using a tractor beam. Now with cargo refractor, I really hope that they allow tractor beams to be used in armistice zones. It would make this a lot better. But you can take these boxes, load them on there, and you can move them into another location, clearing up space here so you can have more gear in here and upstairs. So that's kind of a cool thing. Now we have another view from the opposite direction, closer to where that elevator was, and you can see again just how much bigger this this lift area is. It's pretty amazing. So I have another image now, and this is upstairs above the lift that I just showed you. I don't know if this would be considered the third level, the top level, and that other area is 2 levels, or if this is midpoint in the deck. But you can see this is where you'd bring all your boxes up and store them in here, leaving more space down for vehicles down below. A really cool concept. It's got, looks like potentially those are lockers on the back for storage of other items. We have now some new images of the touring version of the 600i. This is the rear of the ship facing out the back. This is the bar area. This already exists in game, but this is a new design, a new take on it, but it's very similar. It still has this massive window where you're sitting there. If you're in Quantum, you can see the colors streaming over the ship. If you're just flying in space or flying over a planet, it's going to have an amazing view. What a great place to have visitors walking around, meetings, parties. This is going to be a cool area. And now we have also a swimming pool that's been added into this ship that's kind of an interesting shape with this waterfall feature here. Now, I'm not really actually a fan of this waterfall feature at all, because this waterfall feature, if it's either going to be noisy or blocks the view, or it's really just, in my mind, it's not really practical, especially for a ship moving, that this would be splashing all over the place if there's any force happening. But there was an image quickly shown with it off, so if you can turn it off and on, then it's, at least it's better, in my opinion. I do actually prefer it off, but what a cool looking little area for people. Not only have a swim, but there's some chairs to relax on, lots of plants, there's a little bar there. Really cool. The Touring Edition, I think, is going to be really awesome when it comes out. I personally still like the Exploration Edition, but the Touring one is a beautiful ship. We also have another area of the Touring Edition. This, I'm assuming, is where all the rooms would be, so you can go up and down these stairs. This is where visitors would come in. They'd come in through a different elevator, not the vehicle elevator, and they'd come up through here, and this would be like a meeting place, like a foyer, and then from there you can get into the different rooms that are there. You have this pond below. Potentially you'll have fish and stuff floating around there. I'm not really a fan that it's kind of walled off, because I could see someone potentially figuring out a way to jump over and into there and then not being able to get out. Or you're expecting you have some friends over the party. This is going to be filled with, cups and bottles and whatever's chucked in there, and then you got to have to figure out a way to fish them out. I guess the tractor beam would work. I don't know also if this pink is like a screen or if it's like a fire, like a fireplace. It is pretty cool though. If you could change the colors, that'd be good too, because then I would definitely have this in kind of either like a blue-green color, since I do like green. Green would be maybe good for Day of the Vara, but I wouldn't have it green all the time. But it is cool. I do like that. We're going to do one more image, and this is an image in the Explorer version, a concept of the armory. Now, this one has two different colors, a darker version and a lighter version. That was just some ideas they were tossing around with color. Again, this is not in game. This isn't really in development. This is just concept they've been showing around. There's a few things here to note. One is the gear on the table. This is what is going to be eventually happening with things like object persistence and with entities. The armor and pieces, instead of a helmet always being a box that says helmet or a box that says torso, you're going to be able to have armor pieces that you're finding on the ground and carrying with you and fitting to different areas. That is the way it's going. But if you remember my video recently with the Redeemer and the fact that all the stuff in the little like fridge storage there was all just rattled around just by what I would really consider to be mild flying. It wasn't anything really crazy. I don't see this really working with stuff being left on tables. It'd be just flung all over the room when you come back in. So these storage lockers on the side, that's the place for them. Gun racks, it looks like the other side. It's a lot of space with a table in there, and I don't really understand that as far as the concept goes. I would rather it have benches, almost like a locker room, than it would have tables, because this isn't a place to eat, and you don't really need a lot of tables. And if you're working on, say, cleaning a gun or assembling things, maybe working on armor, you don't necessarily need a table as much as you need a workbench. So that part I don't really agree with, but I do love the origin design, the curved tables that are built into the floor, all kind of one modular piece. Really cool. I love the glass doors on the armor so you can actually see what's in the cases. I do think that's pretty cool. So again, even though they've actually taken a ship that had a lot of wasted space and they've utilized it, there's still massive rooms like this armory. So it's a really cool ship. So overall, with 3 decks and the modular part being moved back and such a massive elevator for the Exploration Edition, the 600i, I think, once the rework is done, which could be years away, this could be a new Best in Show. What an amazing ship. I know there's a lot of other ships coming out, but the 600i has been one that people have liked for a long time, and this, in my opinion, is only going to make it better. So during the Expo, take this ship out, give it a fly, try the touring, try the exploration. Just remember, not only is it going to change, but these are one of the few ships that are modular, meaning eventually, whatever version of the 600i you have, you will be able to somehow switch it out to a different module and have that one in game and switch it back and forth. So that is it. Tomorrow, we're going to look at the final 2. We're going to look at the Mercury Star Runner, and then after that, the Carrack, the winner of Best in Show. So until then, only a few more days. Make sure your account is ready to take part in the free fly if you are not already a citizen. And hopefully, I will see you soon in the verse. Thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye.